Hi everyone and welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be talking about the Flanged Mace, a weapon that just got a buff like literally hours ago, and it was something I always wanted to try because of the high damage totals. This thing has higher damage than an arming sword and now the Falchion, which makes it a very interesting option for dual wielders. That being said, let's first talk about some of the other changes, and there's a pile of them. First one being the physical damage reduction and armor rating curve being changed. Not something I'm worried about too much on my Slayer, because it still hits hard. Other than that, taunt was changed slightly, but the big stuff that I'm interested in and I'm excited about is dual wield kind of got a buff. Falchion's damage has been slightly reduced, meaning you're going to win more fights against Falchion users, whether it be Bard or Warlock, and your crossbow and windlass are now going to punch through everybody's armor a little bit better. Not to mention the hand crossbow I use on the Swashbuckler fighter has been buffed a little bit. And now if you run the Flanged Mace on dual wield, every single one of your weapons will have armor penetration, whether it be 5, 15, or 25 on the windlass. And last but not least, they reduced the projectile reduction from plate armors. I think it's almost half from what people are saying. So everything about the dual wield setup right now has been buffed. Arming sword may be a better option again over the Falchion because you can deal damage probably at increased movement speed and at faster swing speeds. We'll see, and I'll show you some examples of this where I just began testing this out. So, other things you'll see in this video is we do run into a rogue that has that movement speed penalty once they double jump, and it's quite substantial. So, big thing here, Flanged Mace, make sure you take one that has the armor penetration, some of the old ones don't, and then the windlass with 25% armor penetration. You could run the hand crossbow with this as well, as I showed you in the past, but essentially, I'm just going to be rocking that Flanged Mace, not wasting too much time with the hand crossbow. The big thing about this is it does pretty serious damage, and maces are only 50 Gs. I was using a green one to begin with, hitting 70 and then 88 on the final hit with combo attack. As you're seeing there, it was 77, 81. This is a blue one with 38 damage, and with combo attack you're probably going to hit for 90 on that final hit. Not incredibly mind-blowing, but when you factor in the 15% attack speed from dual wield and then adrenaline rush, this thing is an absolute armor shredder. It is kind of blowing me away. I'm excited to share this with you guys, and I hope you get a chance to try it before anything changes again, unlike my poor barbarian drum build. That one immediately got shut down the moment I pretty much posted that video, but thankfully, dual wield is now in a much better place. Like always, your windlass is pretty much your setup shot, and then you can just go crazy with your Flanged Mace. And I know some of you are probably looking at my gear going, my god, he's like decked out in goblin caves. This guy's just farming Timmies. And that first guy was definitely a Timmy, but I wanted to show you the attack speed. And most of these things I'm wearing are buffing either agility or resourcefulness and some really random odd stats. I think I have 17 strength here, which is nothing crazy. And the mace itself has no real additional damage on it. So, you should be hitting almost triple 80s with the swing pattern on this thing. And then you throw in dual wield and adrenaline rush, like I said, it's pretty silly. And we're going to show you guys what happens when you run into a rogue that can no longer double jump and sprint away. It is quite punishing, the changes they've made, and for anyone playing dual wield fighter, you should not have a problem catching rogues anymore. It's interesting. Overall, I'm really excited about the changes because maybe people will lay off the fighter being broken because of percent damage reduction. And now everyone has a lot of options, including the ranger, to deal armor penetration damage. This guy hits me with a throwing knife, pots up, and we kind of solved that problem with a windlass to the chest. And then he can't escape. That movement speed, you saw it there and you'll see it right here. He has no chance. Once he landed across those spikes, the windlass shot was 10 times easier because he simply couldn't move fast. And that guy was wearing full blues, including a blue short sword, hoping to grief me in the darkness. So, pretty simple and effective way of dealing with rogues. I am used to that being a much more drawn out, jump around, do some crazy crossbow stuff, and then come in with a weak point. It's changed the game. And it may have changed the game for the better. Maybe we'll stop seeing so many rogues in High Roller. And maybe I'll be able to take this fighter class, which I kind of been sleeping on for a while, into High Roller dungeons. So, another example. Just kind of minding my own business after taking care of this Warlock. And then we get an arrow to the back from a fighter who thinks he's not ready for this armor penetration. We're gonna pot up, just basically rush this guy down if he gives us an opportunity. And one thing I will say, I'm not very good with the mace. You do have to space yourself quite well to get that sweet spot hit on the end of the weapon. If you're hitting them with the shaft near your hands, you're doing like 50% reduced damage, maybe even more than that. Might only be doing like 30% of your total damage. He sprints away. We pop Adrenaline Rush and decide, well, let's just swing like crazy and see what happens. And unfortunately, we just get outranged here, but as you'll see, that Falchion is not hitting nearly as hard as it should be, or would have been before. We take a few Falchion hits and kind of get used to the range on this thing, and I would, in the past, be literally one hit at this point. He tries to get the bow because I'm way too quick for him, and that's pretty much it for him. I'm guessing he was close to full health after he popped Adrenaline Rush, and then 3-hit combo through the armor. He was wearing full white, so nothing amazing, but certainly noticeable how quickly the Flanged Mace chews through that armor. One more example with another fighter guy that's just not ready for it. He pops second wind after eating the windlass, and this is over quickly. 70-80 damage on headshots and armor pen. It's a lot of fun, and I've made a lot of money the last 3 or 4 raids, which is why I want to share this one with you quickly. So, final example. This is a fully decked out bard, and he is not ready for the attack speed we're about to bring on him. I screw up my lantern, and then I also whiff with the crossbow as he's kind of darting back and forth after closing that door. But luckily enough, Adrenaline Rush and just swing like crazy. There's just no way he can't tank enough swings, and I can swing so fast. There's literally nothing he could do. He could hit me 4 more times, and I would be swinging double to his 4 hits. So, pretty wild, and I'm excited to see what I can do with Adrenaline Rush Flanged Mace in other dungeons. This was just kind of a tester, feel this thing out. Maybe the change wasn't as good as I'd hoped, but it has seriously changed my way of thinking on Adrenaline Rush builds. And if anything, it's given us an opportunity to punch through other fighters that are wearing plate armor, or even barbarians that have decent armor. Should be able to do a lot more damage effectively, even if you're not using the Flanged Mace for that armor penetration. You can get some decent armor pen from crossbows now. And normal crossbow hitting for 20% armor penetration will chunk players quite nicely. This here is just the final example, final raid where I accidentally jumped in with shield bash or shield perfect block on. This is a basic white Flanged Mace. And we just kind of have a mace off, and I thought it was hilarious because of all things the fighter wins with dual wield. That cleric had, I think, less on and full white gear. I'm wearing literally nothing but a white Flanged Mace. A little later on we find a guy wearing a lot nicer stuff, and we think, why not just try this, see how much damage we can do, and then compare. So we get in close on this guy, Adrenaline Rush. Unfortunately he gets second wind off. And 3 hits, looks like a couple of them caught his arms, which can be a problem. But we had him pretty scared, considering he's wearing pretty much full blues. And our merchant, or vendor, Flanged Mace, did a pretty good job there. So look, thank you guys, I appreciate you all, and I wish you the best of luck with this build. I'll see you in the next video.